Welcome to the Money Mindset with Melissa podcast, where we talk about all things money mindset, visibility, and technology. We empower women to have a great relationship with money and thrive in their businesses. My name is Melissa E. Kieffer, and I'm your host. Welcome to the podcast. Hi, it's Melissa Kieffer with Money Mindset with Melissa. I am jumping on live today because I want to share something with you. And what I discovered when I started to onboard a couple of new clients that I got. So you might be asking how an excavation company and a cleaning company, what they have to do with growth and expansion. And I found myself just reflecting and saying, there's something in common here, something that is resonating with me. And I wanted to share that with you because you might be at that stage in your life or in your business where you're wanting to grow, you're wanting to expand, and you're not quite sure how to do that. So I want to go ahead and just talk a little bit. I'd already written a blog about this, so you can check that out over on my webpage. But God and universe work in mysterious ways. To pair those two companies up with me and to have me notice that there's something about what they do and what I'm currently going through in my life and business was just really kind of a miracle. And so, with an excavation company, they're out there digging. They're digging deep into the earth. They're helping to lay a foundation for something that is going to be solid, stable, well built. A cleaning company, they're clearing space. They're cleaning and clearing space for new opportunities. They're for new beginnings, fresh beginnings, right? It always feels really great when we are, we have a nice, clean, tidy home, or we can clear out some of the things that don't serve us, our mindsets, our habits, maybe even some of our business ventures, those types of things, relationships. So before expansion comes preparation. And before visibility comes clarity. Sometimes we have to do that reflection and we have to look at those different areas in our life and our business to know where we're going and not just do the same old things, not just pursue the same types of things that we've been pursuing or having the same kinds of mindsets we've always had or habits. So we do need to do that work. We need to look. And sometimes we don't like what we're looking at. And sometimes we can see where we're out of alignment, or where we need to clear out something or set a foundation for something so that it has a great opportunity to be successful in the future. So I started thinking about some questions, and I wrote them up as journal prompts, and I started to journal about them. But one of those questions is, where am I called to dig deeper? And in my business in particular, what came up was, um, I have all these skills, I have all of these different offers, I have all of these services. I consider myself somewhat of a generalist in a lot of areas. I'm really techie. I'm not a coder, I'm not a developer, but I can pretty much figure out a lot of technology stuff. Um, I have a lot of marketing experience. I've worked for a marketing agency. I'm working on SEO and social media and using AI tools. And so that's actually part of my past, part of my history before I became a coach was, almost 20 years in technology. Um, and so, I have all of these different skills and all this stuff that's going on. And I felt like I needed to dig deeper in that space to see how all these things come together, how I can create kind of an umbrella brand within my business that's not just money mindset, that's not just financial consulting and life insurance and annuities, it's not just, marketing or just technology, right? But something that's a little bit more comprehensive. So that's where I decided I need to dig deeper so I can build a foundation. Um, I asked myself what foundation needs my attention, that's it. And I created 3 pillars out of that looking. And those 3 pillars really became part of my foundation for my business going forward. So I started looking at, how can I align my skills and my experiences with helping women entrepreneurs to become more visible in their business, to attract more clients, more wealth, to feel confident raising their prices, to, make sure that they are standing in their worth. Um, and then aren't being challenged by or aren't being stuck with, technology blocks. Like, I don't know how to use AI, or I don't know how to, use this software to help with productivity. Um, so I came up with those 3 pillars: money mindset, visibility, which includes marketing and networking, and then also technology and AI, so that we can take a look at any blocks in any of those areas. And that's going to become a good, solid foundation for our growth and expansion as female business owners, women entrepreneurs. So, this looking really created something that I'm excited about, that I feel is foundational. So, you can expect more along the lines of those 3 pillars and the integration of them in any of my programs, um, any of my workshops, any of my coaching programs, any of my communities, that kind of a thing. So um, I also asked what habits or beliefs, may have become like packed earth, really rigid and unchangeable and solid, because when you're excavating, you're digging the dirt up. It's packed solid, and then you're bringing it up to the surface, right? And it's going to come into this, sandy like texture. Here in Texas, we've got a lot of, clay and limestone, so maybe not that not that sandy. But, where was I being inflexible? Where was I being rigid in my thinking? And, I found that I was doing some of the things that I had always been doing in my business, and that was just like it's because I'm always doing it that way. That's the way it's done. And so I started to look at um, how I was handling my sales process, how I was handling my visibility, because I would go dark for periods of time, and then I would come back up, and on social media feeds and things like that, and just really looking at where I was kind of dug in to those old systems, old beliefs, um, and so I started to look at preparing for what I was building, and retrenching is one of those things. So retrenching is typically in a company is typically like reducing your expenses, scaling back in order to strengthen that foundation for growth. It's to stop doing all the things and focus on the right things. So businesses do this all the time, but as small business owners or entrepreneurs, we may not think about it as much. And so, I started looking at both my personal expenses and my business expenses. What are those expenses that I don't really need? I don't need all the different types of software. Maybe it's not, serving me. Maybe there's better options out there. Maybe there's some free software. Maybe there's some other things I should be taking a look at. Um, so reducing those expenses, and then the next one is scaling back. So where can I scale back in order to focus on those right things? And I realized that although I'm a financial consultant and life insurance and annuities agent as well, um, that has been a piece of my business that I haven't been as focused on, but I kind of, still have that in my in my regular communications, and when I'm networking, I'm talking about that. And it's just not that I'm going to stop doing it, because I think everybody should be protected and secured and start building for their futures and leave, generational wealth. But that's no longer going to be the focus. It's just something that I have in my toolbox that I can help people with. So, you know, I stop doing all the things and focus on the right things. So, stopping doing all the things has been a challenge for me. I'm still working on it. So, work in progress, show some grace. Um, but yeah, where I was being guided to pull back or to simplify was in that space, that financial consulting, life insurance, and annuities, and then what boundaries and systems do I need? So I'm looking into some software. I really need a good CRM system. So I'm looking at Monday CRM. That's looking like they've added some more features that I like from what I'm seeing, and then Riverside because it's going to help me to repurpose my long form video content. So I think that that's going to be my next option there. And then how can a pause help me prepare for growth? So whenever we pause on something, we can also see the impact of that pause. Did the world end or stop when I paused? Or, can I spend a little more time doing the research and the inquiry and the investigation around this so that I can come back with a more solid foundation and clarity that I might need? So, the next one is cleanup. So, clean spaces definitely create that room for growth and for aligned opportunities. And cleaning out things that no longer serve you, it could be something that, in your life or your business that used to work for you and used to be a really good thing for you. And now you've already grown and expanded somewhat, and it no longer is. And so, I started to look at those types of things. Where can I make space for aligned opportunity? And, in my physical environment, I started to, look at where do I still have clutter? I mean, when I moved to Texas, we brought multiple households into, a single family home. And so there's still some things that I need to take to consignment or sell at a garage sale or just, donate or that type of thing. Also, tidying up certain spaces like my office space on a regular basis is something that I could be doing. So that those are things that need clearing. But what about, what needs clearing in my business? What needs clearing in my energy, right? So for the energy side, well, business, we already talked about financial. Um, on the energy side, it's disconnecting from communities that I'm not aligned with, communities where they're not the types of relationships that I feel like I can grow with or that I'm aligned with and where I'm going in my business. So I have started to take a step back from some of those communities. Doesn't mean I don't love everybody and that I don't love people in general, because I do. I have a heart for people. It's just those communities um, might take me away from or distract me from being in those communities and sitting at those tables with those successful women entrepreneurs that are like minded and that are growing and that they're treating their businesses as a business rather than a hobby or, as an afterthought. And then where am I holding on to things just in case? As I mentioned, the financial side of things. I still love teaching about financial tools and what people can do. It's just, maybe more so on offering the products. It's going to be more of a, hey, I want to help you holistically. Let's talk about this versus, pushing to set up appointments specifically for that. So that's kind of where I'm at. I just wanted to share with you all. This was a really powerful, insightful discovery for me, and I hope it is for you. But drop a comment, let me know. Was this helpful? Where are you looking at doing some excavation or, housekeeping or cleaning in your life or business? All right, guys, thanks. Have a great rest of your week. Love you all, and I will talk to you soon.